Hey everybody, Don Giannatti, lighting-essentials.com, project52prosystem.com. It's Friday, and on Fridays at 1 o'clock, I come on here. Sometimes I have guests, sometimes I don't. I think Sid Ceaser may be joining me a little later. We're going to try to do this every Friday during the great coronavirus eruption of 2020, or disruption, or whatever you want to call it. This is the end of week 4 for me anyway, here in Phoenix, Arizona, end of week 4. And I've been busier than I was the 4 weeks before. As some of you know, I do a online class called Project 52, and Project 52 is a year class to get you ready to do professional work. And welcome, Sid. And that professional work means we cover everything from lighting to bidding to creating RFPs and everything else that goes into it. Whether you're going to be a full-time photographer, just want to do it on the weekends, you need to know how to work with clients, you need to know how to find clients, and you need to know how to bill. So check out project52prosystem.com for some more information. We're enrolling now. And our class starts in May. So first week of May, I think it's May 6th is our first class. But anyway, I take a very few numbers. I only have a few slots left. We are as close to one-on-one with you guys as we possibly can be. So check it out. And welcome, Sid. How you doing, buddy?
What's happening? Good afternoon. Happy Friday.
It is a happy Friday. I feel great today.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
Getting over all the little bumps and things, and my arm is better, and I'm out walking again, and I just feel great. I feel better. I don't know if I told you this with you, but I actually feel better now than I did when I was 60.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you say you're 71?
I'm 71. Yeah. I'll be 71 in August. Yeah.
You look good. You look good for 71.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If by any chance during the show you just see my head flop forward, call somebody. I don't know. Anyway.
Okay.
They say you go when your time's up. I have no idea how much sand's left in the glass, but I'm going to live it to the end, buddy. How you doing?
Good. I'm hanging in there. This has been a crazy week just because of trying to deal with unemployment and all the financial assistance and all that stuff. So that's starting to sort of poke its ugly head in. But other than that, I'm just trying to keep calm.
Fill out all the forms and the different things?
I have. At first, self-employed people were not, or normally self-employed people are not part of unemployment. But the New Hampshire state governor, he issued a mandate saying it's open for everybody. And so that's causing just major, like everybody's hammering on the website. So I got approved 4 weeks ago and I still haven't seen anything yet. And then on top of the normal unemployment, the governor said, on top of your weekly allotment, I'm also going to tack $600 per week on top of that as like a special federal thing, which of course none of that's shown up yet. And then he's been throwing out all these sort of other little like small business loans that can be forgiven as long as you can show that they go towards rent or like paying your employees and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So it's been a lot of filling out a lot of paperwork and just a lot of time on phone calls on pause and on hold, and it's just I'm happy the weekend's here.
Yeah, well, that's great. I'm glad that they're doing that for you.
Yeah, it's nice.
If they can't find any COBOL programmers in Florida, those folks are out of luck. So
right. I was reading about that.
COBOL, man.
It's like what, 20-something years old or something?
I don't think anybody was using COBOL even in 2000. I think it was pretty much wrapped up by the early 90s. I'm glad that they're at least at COBOL, because they could be out there doing Fortran. That would be really scary. All the little cards with the little
unemployment is still, you go in there and it's just those reel-to-reel data processor machines, and there's all kinds of little blinky lights everywhere. That would be
great
perfect.
That would, my dad. My dad worked at Motorola and worked with the team that created the ovens that would bake the transistors and that kind of stuff. And,
Oh,
I got a picture of my dad in front of a room. It's twice the size of my office. My office is about 10 by 12. So it's about a 20 by 20 room, 20 by 30 room. And it's got
yeah.
those great big reel to reels,
Yeah, yeah.
And he's standing there in his little lab coat and his other 5 or 6 people there. And they're all smiling really big because they just achieved on the big white banner across it. It says 1 megabyte of memory.
It's awesome. So awesome.
Yeah. And then I remember, oh God, long time ago, sometime in the 90s, I bought a 20 megabyte hard drive for my Mac Plus. And it was like, it's like a library book,
Yeah.
20 megabytes.
Yep.
And my friends are all going, dude, you're never going to fill that thing. What are you going to do with it? 20 megabytes is less than a raw file on a crop sensor camera.
Yeah.
It's
awesome. It's awesome. I have a one of the little puppets that I made. He's a photographer puppet, and his shtick is I have one of those old Sony Macavas that used to record to the 3 1/4 inch, like the little plastic hard ones. So we've got the camera, and I've got a couple of those discs. So his whole spiel is when he does a session, at the end of the session, he gives a family a binder full of these 3 1/4 inch discs, and they're just kind of staring at him like they don't know what to do with it. And he's like, and they're just so happy, they're overwhelmed, and they don't know what to do with this beautiful folder, and they have to like keep taking all these 3 1/4 inch discs and sticking them in the computer.
I remember throwing out. Remember zip drives?
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
we had
Omega.
We had over 290 zip drives at the agency. And we had them all burned onto CDs.
Yeah.
And then, because zip drive, they didn't even make the drives anymore.
Yeah.
So everything burned on. All 290 burned except one. We could never open that CD. So, at least we saved it. It's useless now, but we wanted to save it. And then we just stood there and threw them away, and we're going, those were $50 a piece.
Yeah.
$50.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And now
that's been the hardest thing as a photographer, is just like, it's nice having a binder full of negatives, but at the same time it's like, okay, this is the only copy of these that I have. So it's nice to be able to, like, when I back files up now, I back up all my final client processed images times 7. So I have a bunch of these little tiny external hard drive things. So I've got 7 of these, and then I make sure I have everything times 7, and then I take 2 of these off location, and I have a safe at home, and I have a safe here that I put them in. And I take one to my parents' house, and it's just like, it's crazy. But it's nice knowing that, like, if the house ever catches fire, I'm running for the negatives. But if something had happened to them, at least I've got 7 different backups that I can kind of play around with.
Sure. We're joined by Sophie. Sophie's here. Sophie is a photographer in Antibes, France.
Ooh.
Hi, Don.
Hi, Sophie. Whose house overlooks the ocean? It's just a terrible place to live.
No, that's Carmen. That's Carmen.
I'm sorry, it's Carmen. Sophie, unfortunately, does not look over the ocean.
No.
But you have a beautiful view from your window.
And I have a 3-meter high ceiling. I don't know how, so that makes Carmen very jealous.
Okay.
Because I can have my lights really high up. So
Okay.
Yes,
but and Sophie, I'm sorry to say, but a view of the ocean from your living room beats your high ceiling. Okay, I'm just sorry.
Each to their own.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Fine.
When I was younger, I probably would have gone for the high ceilings. I'm older now. I want the view.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's really great. It's really great. Well, welcome, Sophie. We're just goofing off here. Sid and I, we come on Fridays and talk a little bit. Did you shoot anything this week?
I haven't. They're really kind of cracking down on what you can do and can't do. So I've been coming into the studio just to get out of my wife's way. But I haven't been so busy with stupid paperwork and everything. I just haven't had a chance to shoot this week.
You've probably tidied that place up so it's like beyond
super clean.
Super
Yeah.
clean.
And then, yeah, and then like, because I back everything up so many times, and I do like, I'm not organized when it comes to backing things up. So it's like, I do it the old like I do it ridiculously old. Like I'll take an entire drive and then I'll copy that entire drive over to the other. Like I don't have anything that like only backups the newer stuff. I'm terrible when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I have a very slow.
I use the Apple, what's it called?
Time machine.
Time machine.
Yes.
I use the Apple Time Machine, and I have it going to 4 different drives.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, because I have one. I have a like a 3 terabyte one here, and I just recently figured out how to use Time Machine. So that's my current one, and then I pull off of that every other week. I pull off of that.
And you can set Time Machine to go to 4 different drives if you want.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look into that and see.
That'll save you time because you're just backing up the whole time.
Yeah.
And set it to back up at night, so you're not, you know.
Oh, that's right. I don't even have to think about it if I'm asleep.
Yeah.
Yes. So I didn't get a chance to shoot. So.
Did you bring a photograph to share with us?
I certainly did. I have a couple of things that I want to share.
I will let you grab my screen here. I have to. I'm not sharing, so you can share your screen with us.
Let me see. Do this here. I'm a little.
Sophie, you want to share a photograph?
There we go.
See if I find something. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. We're looking for something we can talk more about the why than the how. And that comes
more
right
the
up
why,
here.
More the why than the how.
Than the how. You know, we don't want to get into like speed lights and stuff like that. We want to talk about the photograph, the image. You know, why you did, and you have tons of stuff like that.
Yeah.
You do. Okay. I love your mustache thing.
The November, yeah. And let's see if I can get one from India.
That'd be cool.
All right. Is my screen up? I can't see what I'm doing.
It is indeed.
Oh, all right. So this is my messy desktop. Where's my folder? So I just grabbed. So this is so there's a little bit of story to this one. This is a friend of mine that I've known my entire life. He has a camp way up in northern New Hampshire, and we go a couple of times a year just to hang out and catch up and stuff like that. He's an avid mountain biker, and so 2 years ago, he was mountain biking and he fell off a cliff, and they brought him in to make sure that he didn't have any broken neck or anything like that. And while they were giving him an MRI, they found out that he had 2 aneurysms in his brain. So one of them, it was fairly large, but they were like, okay, we're gonna just eyeball this for the next year and see how it's doing. And within the year, it started to get much bigger. So he had to go in, and they removed part of his skull, and then they went in there and they zapped the aneurysms, and then they sealed him back up with his skull. And what happened? And so this is a shot. I got him 2 days after he got out of surgery. So I just thought it would make a simple black and white portrait. I sort of wanted to backlight him a little bit, and then I just hit him with a grid, just because it was so fresh, and I thought it would be nice. It's just something for him that he could have, in the future, where he could just be like, here's a kind of a simple portrait of my accident. So that was that. And then since then, there's been actually the piece of skull that they put back in became infected. So they had to take that out, and they have to let the infection go away. So currently he has this giant soft spot where a piece of skull used to be. And then once that infection's gone, they fabricate a fake piece, and then they're going to put it back in.
Oh, so how many times are they going to cut this guy's head open?
So this when they put the final piece in, this will be the 4th time.
Oh man, I feel for that guy.
He's had a terrible year, and he's like he does wakeboarding, and he does mountain biking, and he does snowmobiling. So like all these outside activities, they've had to been put on hold because they're just like, you don't have a piece of your skull in it. Like it's just soft tissue. So he's been really stressed out, and he's got this special little helmet that doesn't really look like a helmet. It just kind of looks like a hat. But he's ready. And then he was supposed to get it off last week. They were supposed to go in and finally do the final thing. But because of the whole COVID stuff, they had to put any surgeries.
Yeah.
So he's just like, I don't know. He's like, who knows how long I'm going to run around with this stupid soft pallet in my head.
Man, I think I'd probably be wearing my motorcycle helmet the entire time. It's like,
Yeah, he's got this cool thing. It looks like a little winter cap. It looks like a watch cap, and it's fabric. But when you take it off, it's got like all of these little Kevlar things on the inside. It's really, really fancy.
wow.
So that's my buddy Todd, and then this is just like a quick pullback shot just to show how
Huh?
simple it was. You know, it was literally I just had 2 lights on the background, nuking it white, and then I just had a gridded light kind of up and over him a little bit, and I just wanted to concentrate just on this. It's crazy, like just and it was like it goes
Looks like
all the way around.
you know, it looks like a zipper. I'm wondering if
Yeah,
at this point they shouldn't have probably just put a zipper in there going in
yeah,
so
just
often.
yeah,
Some
yeah.
Velcro, you know, a little thing
Just
that
peel it
comes
back.
over and, you know, there's a
And,
buckle on it or something. Jeez.
but it was fascinating. It was just absolutely, and then it was kind of nice. It was so fresh too that zoom in here for a second. Like it was still, you know, not that some people want to see this, but you know, like it was still, he still had little blood droplets coming out of the
Oh,
sutures
man.
like that. It was like fresh. Like it was the first thing he did because we had talked about it. I was just like, you know, it'd be kind of cool to get a picture of you. And I didn't think he was actually going to take me up on it. And he called the day he got back and he was just like, can you come pick me up, bring me to the studio? He's like, I want you to take pictures of this. And I'm like, absolutely. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it's just something simple. I made a big 16 by 20 and we put it in a frame and it looks really nice because it's simple and it's kind of elegant.
Very Skrebneski.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I really like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, just you know, sort of a little homage to my friend. And then you want me to share another one, or do you want to move over to somebody else?
Absolutely.
So I'll try not to suck up too much time, but this is designer Aaron Draplin. He's Draplin Design Company. He's kind of big in the graphic design world right now. He was my wife previously worked at the college that we went to, and she was started to schedule visiting guests and stuff like that. So he was coming to do a talk and work with some of the design kids. And so his favorite color is this sort of Pantone orange color. So I sent him an email and I was like, you're going to be speaking at the institute that I went to. You know, would you mind if I just snapped a couple of shots of you real quick in between getting ready for your presentations and stuff? And he was like, absolutely. So I went out and I got these, what do you call them? Wooden pallets. And so we got the local paint place to paint we got the color paint and I painted all the pallets that orange color. So we kind of had like a little mini set. And then he gave us about 15 minutes. We just kind of hung out and he just kind of stood there. Originally I was going to have him sit, but he's kind of a girthy guy. So he was just like, don't make me sit down. So just something simple. And this is sort of like he's in character, right?
Very cool.
And I just kind of like this little spill of light that's kind of coming off on the right hand side of the camera. And I don't know, just something simple. Simple.
Well, sometimes I like simplicity, so I'm down for that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely down for that.
Yeah.
John joined us. John, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Good. We're just sharing images. You want to share an image?
I hadn't thought about sharing any.
I know neither did we until about 30 minutes ago. So
okay, let's see what I can.
Sophie, did you find something?
Yeah. I've got something if you want.
I would love to see what you got.
It's it's a raw file because it's complete, so it's completely not edited. Yeah. So what do I say like that?
You just simply down at the bottom it says share screen. Yeah. There we go.
Oh wow.
So that's in Varanasi in India. And there was that massive festival for Shiva, and he's the god. So it's a very important festival, and Varanasi is the town of Shiva. So it's even more a bigger night in the town. And that's coming back from the party. So the town is on the Ganges River, and these are all the quays, and you can walk like for an hour along those quays. They go through the whole town, and it had just rained, and so we were just walking back.
So you're underground here?
I'm on the ground, yeah.
No, are you underground? You say is a cave? Did you say a cave?
No,
Oh,
a
okay.
K, I don't, a key, a K, like a riverbank.
Okay.
Does that make,
All right.
is the word right? Sorry.
Maybe.
And,
A key.
and,
Yeah, on the quayside.
yeah, see, you can see the water on the left
Okay.
a little bit on that one. So it's that's the river on the left, and because basically it's a holy city, so during the day this is filled up with pilgrims doing their ablutions in the Ganga river, because if you go and drink the water and pray to God in the water, it's very important in their tradition. I mean, that's a very small summary. So these steps are for people to step on and get to the water. And so,
Okay.
and the light was just beautiful, and with the rain, and then just people hanging out, and they've got all that thing on there. You can't really see it on that one, but so yeah, you
Okay,
tell me when to stop. But
little fog in the sky.
the humidity level is
Oh,
crazy, so it makes that fog, which is nice. For photos, it's wonderful.
Yes. Density is,
Uh,
I love images that have like fog
yeah.
density in it.
Me
Like
too.
it's,
yeah,
Me too.
yeah.
and so I
But even
have a
better
few,
when it's real fog and
and
not.
I have a few portraits. Can you see this?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a whole procession in with full of chariots with the animals and with the different gods represented, and so also people take bang, and bang is an official drug in India. It's basically the male plant from the marijuana. People that smoke pot you only smoke the female plant, because the male plant doesn't have enough power if you smoke it. But actually, if you cut it fresh and mix it with milk, with yogurt, you put it into cookies, it has some effect.
Hmm.
And that's the bang, and they drink that a lot for parties in India.
Oh, that's great.
So
I
the
just
party,
learned
so
something.
everybody, huh?
I just learned something, Sophie. I didn't know there was like boy weed and girl weed.
There is boy and girl weed,
Huh.
absolutely. And so everybody, the whole town is high on bang, which is interesting. And these guys were on one of the chariots, and they were just throwing the biggest party ever, and like spreading flour on people and stuff. So my camera still has flour from that night.
The shot you're showing us has some green Christmas lights. Is that the one that you're describing?
Oh no, it hasn't changed. Hold on. Where am I? Here you go. No, I'm showing you people. You're not seeing people.
No, it's still on that one
It's
shot.
still the. Here you go, because it's in pause. So I've stopped, and I'll share again.
Okay.
Here. These guys.
Oh, okay. There we go. Now we can see it.
Yeah.
So they're throwing flour and stuff on people.
Yes. Like it's very interesting, the processions in India, because so they block the street, so the whole thing parade can walk through, but people wanting to go home will go against the current on their scooter in the middle of the parade, no problem. You'll have dead bodies, because cremations happen 24 hours non-stop. So you'll have dead bodies passing through to go to the cremation place, normal. And it's always that mix of life carries on in India. It doesn't matter the biggest festival. You
There
have,
you go.
death happens, and life happens at the same time, and so on. So
Very,
yeah,
very interesting. How long were you there?
3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
intense.
You said you
Um,
were a little flummoxed by your photographs. What did you?
I am, but
Okay.
not because there's not good ones, but because I think the trip helped me define me more as a photographer,
Mm-hmm.
which is I've realized just travel photography is probably not my thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Totally get that.
Because all the portraits I did, I'm happy because I created an interaction with the people. So not this one with the guys on their chariot, but
Mm-hmm.
I've got quite a lot of portrait work, and it's all where I had even just eye contact, or just because, you know, obviously I can't speak Hindi. But so these photos I'm happy about, but and obviously I have some nice shots from the Ghats and with the night and the stuff, but these shots I realized they're not so nourishing for me, because yeah, okay, I got a good shot, but what? You know, I snapped a good photo. To me, I'm realizing it doesn't nourish me as much as when I have an interaction with somebody.
Okay.
And when I'm doing that. So I think that's why I felt maybe I should have spent more time interacting with people rather than just snapping away photos. And so for now, that's where the disappointment is. But there'll be good photos in the middle of it for sure.
Well, we just saw good photos. So
Yeah.
that's great.
Okay.
That's great. Beautiful.
Well,
John, did you find something?
I think I found something. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but I've been posting some of my landscape images, and so yeah, the stuff that doesn't nourish. But I have another aspect on landscapes and sort of
we're all different, John. I'm only speaking
yeah,
for
yeah.
myself.
I'm only playing. I'm only playing. Yeah, let me share my desktop. How do we do this? Screen. Is that working?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So yeah, so I travel a bit for work. So and I've been lucky enough to have some pretty good holidays. But I like to get up early in the morning, go for a wander when the place is quiet. Pop out anytime I want, you know, anytime I can get out and explore. So I take my camera with me and just look for things that appeal to me. So this is, do you know this place, Chicago?
I've been there.
You know this. They've got these lovely bridges that open up bridges and metal bridges, wonderful geometric shapes. That I really like. I like that sort of thing, and you can tell straight away it's going to be a black and white photo. You know, the sky's
Mm-hmm.
dramatic. You got all the grid work. It looks lovely. So yeah, that was done. I don't know, quite a few years ago.
Nice shot.
But I walked for miles and miles, and you're going along, you're snapping things, you go, no, that's not it. But then you see something like this, and you go, yeah, that's the one. And yeah, it's quite nice.
I like the texture up front and the texture in the back. It's cool.
Yeah, really, really nice lady. This one, and it's really this is Paris. I was coming back from work. My train wasn't for 3 hours. So I thought I'd just go for a walk with my suitcase on wheels, and never been to Paris before, and found this high point, which looked across all the rooftops. I got several of these, but it was really, I had a pretty bad lens. I had a 70 to 300 cheap lens on a D7 or 7D Canon, and it was really, really hazy. So I just took some shots, but it was just how everything went flat. Because of the light, everything went flat, and you put it in Photoshop. That one's on my wall. I just love that it's it's just like a, for me, it's like a painting. Someone could have painted that.
Yeah.
There's so much detail in that shot. It's crazy. It's like,
And it feels like a painting.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think this bit of the bomb is actually the railway station. I found this whole high point. I've since found out it's a really famous place. I can't remember what it's called now, that everyone goes to. But I was just wandering and happened to walk up this street and go, oh, there's some stairs here. I'll wander up here. So it's just one of those happen chance things, and that's the beauty of it. This is what I get excitement out. You go and wander and you find things. Sometimes I'll just sit down and just look around me for an hour or two, and you'll find photos where you never imagine them.
Yeah, photos are everywhere. We have to prepare our brain to see them, and that's the difference. If you're not ready to receive that image, it's not going to be there. I don't care. You can be in the middle of Yosemite and not have anything photographed. You have to be ready for the photograph to come in, and that's one of the things when I go to shoot, I try to do it every time I go out, is to clear my brain of preconceived notions. Whether it's a portrait or whatever, I want to clear my brain of preconceived notions so that I can see what presents in front of me and start working from that. Otherwise, I always find that no matter what you think you're going to do, you never do it, because the circumstances that you thought were going to be in play aren't in play. And now you're like, oh, I can't do that shot I wanted to do.
Yeah. I have two approaches. One is a very planned approach where I sketch everything out and I get there, and okay, so you can't achieve what maybe you had sketched out, but you work with that and you adapt from that, and that's quite nice when you've got control and time.
Yep.
But other times, you haven't planned anything and you've got a blank page, and I think a blank page is such a hard thing to work from. So just sitting there, just looking at your surroundings, you start to notice things maybe you wouldn't notice just walking by. Well, you won't notice walking by. Just taking that moment just to look around.
Cool shots.
One of the things I like about this photo, Don, is you can actually see when you zoom in the migrating birds in the in the sky. You never notice. You don't even notice that when you're taking a photograph. You don't notice how many birds flying past.
Very cool. What'd you print it on when you printed it?
I sent it away actually. I sent it away and then I got it framed separately. It's just printed on some high quality paper.
Okay.
But, I thought about reprocessing it. This was done maybe 6-7 years ago, and my Photoshop skills are improved since then. So I might be able to do something more with it. But yeah. Cool, so that was sort of I like going around the city. I like finding this, doing the city, but my current ones are the landscapes, especially traveling around America. Just amazing. It's epic.
Make sure you watch that Ansel Adams documentary I posted.
I've started it already. Yeah,
Oh,
I've seen one. I'm not sure if it's that one I've seen, but I've seen one. Yeah,
very emotional. Very emotional. It's all about the why. There's very little talk in there about cameras and crap like that. It's all about the why.
Yeah, exactly. About and moving to get the picture. Find it, even if it's just moving up and down, just a foot or two, it makes such a difference. Waiting for that moment, because this doesn't just happen. You've got to be up early in the morning. You've got to be planning. You've got to be getting already thought about the photograph beforehand. You don't just turn up and you take it. So this particular one, I think I visited this position, which is actually quite a famous position. I visited in the afternoon. I went, that's really not going to be any good.
It's the tunnel shot, isn't it? Right outside the tunnel?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah.
great.
Oh, yeah.
the moment before, just a moment of sunrise sort of thing. It was just lovely.
If you ever get a chance to photograph New England in the fall, like,
Oh, I've not been yet.
it's incredible. Just the
Oh,
leaves
wow.
and
That's
Yeah.
on my bucket list. I hope I'm able to do it this fall. I want to
yeah.
come to Rhode Island. I have
Mhm.
I belong to a club, so I can rent motorcycles. I want to come up to Rhode Island, rent a motorcycle, and ride up through Maine as the leaves are changing.
Yeah.
And fly home again.
Yeah, you got to ride through Acadia. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, first time I went through Acadia was 6 years ago. It absolutely blew my mind.
Yeah, it's
I have
beautiful.
it was like it was to me. It was the same feeling I had when I went through Glacier the first time.
Okay.
Like, how could this exist and I not know about
Right.
it? Thanks, John.
Oh, we live in an amazing world, don't we?
We do indeed.
Yeah, just take time to look at it, and this time when we're locked in. I guess you guys are all locked in. This time when we've got a lock in, it gives us an opportunity to appreciate. And I'm just posting all my favorite images. I've not some of them I've never posted before. I'm posting them all on my Facebook page, 1 or 2 a day, just to share them out there.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we should be all sharing are those little moments that bring us pleasure. We can sit and argue on Facebook about stuff until the cows come home, but who cares about the arguing and stuff? We should be sharing these beautiful stuff that we have of the world. Well, let me share a couple shots with you guys that I really enjoy that I've done. This one, I've been following this pine tree since it was about that tall.
Excellent.
The ledge that it's on is literally as wide as that trunk. And it's fascinating to me. It's in Zion, and this is a vertical, just straight up. There can't be any dirt there. This is just rock. There can be maybe there's a little sand or whatever, but there's a crack. And this tree has found a way to grow. It's like nature finds a way. It's hard as it's definitely a bitch to get to shoot it, but every year I go back and shoot it. I can't wait for it to, from this angle here to break right up into the sky. I just can't wait for it. Probably another year or two, it'll be up there. But it just fascinates me how in all this rock, that little guy just grows and apparently is flourishing in it. It's nature just fascinates me.
Yeah.
And I've got this one here. This was taken in a place called 17 Mile Canyon. It's in Utah. It's in the Escalante region. And the red here is because it's sandstone all the way around. We have a bright blue sky. It's lighting up all the sandstone, and it just turns this red. There's very little Photoshop in here, very little. At first, I walked by it and I didn't shoot it because, as you can tell, there's a little breeze. And I thought, I really want to nail it. It's not very bright. I would have had to be down to like a, f2 at maybe a 100th of a second would have done it. But then f2 isn't going to do it for me either, because then I couldn't get anything in focus. I'd have to choose a leaf and get it in focus. As I was coming back, I thought, you know what? The movement of the thing against this giant rock, which is about 6 stories above this little tree here, the movement helped tell the story a little bit. That it was it's moving where this particular piece of rock that's the size of Mars is not. And so I just I took it. And it's one of my favorite shots. It ended up being one of my favorite shots, even though I only took one exposure because I was doubting myself when I took it. And when I got it back into Capture One, I was like, well, this kind of bothers me. But then I kept going back to it, and I realized I liked it. So
I like it as well. It's intriguing because normally you would have the touch of red. This is mostly red.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it
And
plays with you, plays with your mind.
yeah, it's a little opening of a very short slot canyon. It just goes
Yeah.
in there. And on Saturday nights, the young people come up here and have concerts because it makes its own amphitheater in there. Um, I can't imagine how cool it sounds because it sounded cool just talking in there. Have all that
Yeah.
rock around, but they'll come up and have concerts and stuff, and it's not hard to get to. It's right off the road. And I shot some pictures of that. I shot some pictures going in and coming out. The coming out pictures turned out pretty good. I mean, just real quickly, this one.
Almost like a negative, John. Really, you
What's
think about
that?
it. If you reverse those colours, it looks like it's almost like a negative with the red and the yellow. If you
Yeah,
reverse those, it'll be green and blues, wouldn't it? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This little tree is on the other side of this rock, so you can see all this red rock everywhere is reflecting red. So you're standing there, and your skin looks red. I took a portrait of the guy that was with me. He's red. It's like, wow. But I don't want to color correct it. I want that saturation there. But these trees had burned recently. Someone had set them on fire. That was very sad. Or somehow they caught fire. I can't imagine lightning coming into the canyon. But I tend to like little moments in grand places, if that makes sense. Little moments in grand
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
My favorite shots of Grand Canyon are detail shots, not the Grand Canyon itself, but details of the Grand Canyon. Little things. So. Well, that was fun. I enjoy looking at you guys work and doing stuff.
Thank
What's
you.
what's on the menu here, Sid? What's next week? You're done filling out paperwork. Just
Oh God, I hope
cash
so.
in now. Big
Yeah.
truckloads of it.
I don't even know. I don't know. I've been trying to work with a local independent movie theater,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been shut down. But we were talking this afternoon, and it was the movie theater that actually let me do the puppet stuff for my proposal for my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since we've done that, she's always been, let's do a series of little PSAs that they would air before the movie starts. And it would be, like, don't talk in the theater, and it would be the puppets, and they'd be talking on the phone and that kind of stuff. So we're trying to sit down and figure out, now that we've got some downtime, like how we could implement that and when we could find times to go in and start doing the video work for that. So that's one thing that we're trying to do. I've been doing just a bunch of puppet stuff just to keep my brain active and stuff like that.
Sure.
And because there hasn't been any there's no clients. So
Let me ask you this. This is a COVID related question. How are your numbers looking where you are compared to what they predicted?
we are doing really well. They just announced this afternoon that I think there's only been 27 deaths in the state. And the infection numbers aren't too high. I want to say within all of the regions, it's under 1,000. So everybody is really just staying in place. Like they're not going out. We just made some masks. We had to go grocery shopping the other day, so we made some masks for that. So yeah, it's compared to like New York, which is just like crazy. Everybody seems to be doing the biggest thing that we're running into now is people from New York who have like a secondary home, like up at the lakes, and they're leaving New York and they're coming to New Hampshire so that they can go to their summer resort at Lake Winnipesaukee. And it's just like, no, like I just read that in Rhode Island, they're cracking down on that, and police are going to like house to house. And they're just like, this is your secondary residence and you're not from here. You need to lock this door and not leave this house. Like you have to stay inside.
Yeah.
So it's scary, but it's not as scary as, some of the other places out there.
We are way under our numbers. The numbers that they gave us last Friday for this week were absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
And not even, I don't even want to say 25%. We're like at 15% of those numbers.
Oh, wow.
So our infections seem like are on the downside. But I live in a very hot place, and they were wondering, what will the heat do?
Right.
Well, we had 3 days at 94, so that may have been a deciding factor there. Sophie, how are you guys doing?
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It's getting a little bit better, but it's people here are having a hard time respecting the rules, and so that's it's not crazy. The northeast of France is having it worse. We've had the same problem with all the Parisians coming down, you know, as the lockdown was announced. It's like 20% of Paris left. 20% of Paris.
That
Just
seems like 20% didn't really understand the term shelter in place.
Yeah, stay home.
Stay home. These are confusing terms to some people.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we're everybody's starting to make masks and trying to prepare for when we're going to be let out again. It seems to be a bit better, but it's still, we're not out of the woods yet at all. And especially they're having to forbid now, because you would not believe the amount of people that do jogging.
Yeah.
It's like funny. So like all of a sudden it's like, and so there a lot of towns are having to forbid jogging between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They literally have to forbid it. And they filmed Paris, because Paris had to do it, and they filmed Paris last night, which was the first day of, at 7 p.m. sharp, the streets were flooded with joggers. It was a joke.
That's crazy.
Wow.
And it's just like,
Wow.
because, you know, the French, they're like, it's my freedom, I'm free. Like, yeah, you idiot.
Yeah.
You have misunderstood the word freedom, you know?
Yeah.
It's like
here, we my wife and I go on walks in the morning between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. We'll leave here and we'll walk for an hour. And 2 weeks ago, you could really tell we were under crackdown. I mean, there's no traffic. Yesterday, I was up at the corner. I couldn't tell the difference between that and any other Thursday afternoon we've ever had.
Yeah.
There was as much traffic, you know, lights full, cars both ways, waiting for the light to go through. And I'm thinking, where the hell are you going?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing open. You know, grocery stores are open, pharmacies are open, and pretty much everything else isn't.
Well, they go 4 times a day to the grocery store.
Well, I find it interesting that you can't go to a restaurant unless somebody you don't know, not wearing a mask or gloves, hands you your food out a window.
Yeah.
What? Why?
Yeah.
All the daycares are open. I understand there's doctors who need daycares for their children, but I'm sorry. It seems like what we have is a pee-free zone in the pool. You know, we're going to protect the pool, but you can pee over there in the pool.
Yeah. Yep.
It just doesn't. It doesn't compute for me. It took 2 weeks for them to finally decide to close nail places and hair cutting places.
Yep. Yeah. Some of them won't even shut the beaches. They're like, close the beaches down. Like, stop. That's like a petri dish for this stuff.
Yep.
And some of the states just won't. It's weird. It's weird watching like the federal government not really getting their act together, and then all of the individual states.
Remember, the federal government has no right to tell the people of Cleveland or the people of Ohio they can't go to the park.
Yeah.
We have a federal system. The federal government doesn't have that power. That's the governors.
Oh.
So the governors can do pretty much anything they want within their state without the feds coming in, unless they're doing something unconstitutional, like, you know, only redheads can go out on Thursdays. No, I can't do that. That's unconstitutional. But if if the governors want to shut the parks down, they want to shut literally anything down or whatever, that's up to them. I'm sure you don't want it either here in the state. We don't want the federal government shutting down private citizens in Arizona. I'd rather, you know, people in Arizona, because then they answer to us. Where if, you know, vice president or the president shuts us down, it's like, well, you don't answer to us. We have no recourse. We can't vote you out next time. So, John, what's happening there, sir, where you are?
It's pretty good where I live. It's not too bad.
And you're in High Wycombe, right?
Yeah, so we're west of London. I mean, London's a hotspot, and like you've all said, people travelling is the biggest issue. So the police have just set up, sitting at the side of the road, just looking for people who are obviously not from the area. You can run a registration check, and they just send them home. I heard on the news there was 600 and some parties shut down in London. So house parties, they've been going around door to door, So people, as the younger generation, obviously,
the ones,
well, you're immortal when you're younger
the ones
anyway.
that are going to live forever. That group.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're the ones, yeah.
I
Not
remember
us.
being part of that group at one time.
Used to, I remember it. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but it's we're reaching our peak. I think same as France. You sort of reach that peak, and then hopefully we're going to start seeing improvements.
Oh, that's
The
excellent.
Prime Minister is now out of danger, so which is good. I'm not sure if he was chosen from all the prime ministers and presidents and whatever from around Europe to say, hey, someone needs to get sick, and say, look, even the prime minister can get ill.
Yep.
I think
you go and hide for a little while.
He definitely was not one of the believers of that thing to start with. So
True.
Well, they his whole cabinet went down the what did they call it? Herd
herd immunity. Well,
herd immunity.
Oh yeah, don't listen to the
No, I think they got about 4 days into it and said, okay, this isn't going to work.
It's the same as every country's been doing. We need to keep the economy running for as long as possible. When do we hit the danger point where it's going to cost us more to keep the economy running than not?
Well, Sweden has adopted the herd mentality, and they were touting it as being a really great thing last week.
Sweden's got they've got a small population, about 10 million or something, haven't they?
Their numbers are terrible right now compared to Denmark and Norway, which are right next door. Sweden's numbers are terrible. I mean, they're running about 5.5% death mortality, and Denmark's running like 0.1 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it may have.
They got quite a small population, so even if they had 5% of the whole population, it's nothing compared to you think about America. You've got 300 million or more.
350 million.
Yeah, so 10 million for Sweden, and there's a big difference.
Yep. Sid, have you read about the Boston sewage plant?
No.
I did not know this, but many cities, Boston, LA, New York, but they have scientific instruments in the sewage. They can measure all kinds of things that are coming through the sewage. According to the Boston sewage, over 100,000 people in Boston have COVID-19.
Whoa, really? Just from
the stuff that's coming through.
Well, I'm telling you, I guess we got to get tested some way. And
well, here's the thing: if that's true, if that's really true, this is going to be, the number of people getting sick and dying can be a drop in the bucket.
Right.
It's going to change everything, the way we look at it. The problem with COVID-19 apparently is you can't test for people who had it.
Yeah, you can.
Oh.
Nope, not what's the word? About 50% of them or more don't have antibodies, and the other 50% do, from the ones that they've tested. So they can't really figure out who has it, who has had it, and who hasn't. Not everybody has antibodies. My wife,
after having it.
Yeah, after getting it. A lot of people don't have antibodies. I know my wife had it in December. I know she did. I've looked at the treatments. I've looked at all the symptoms. She had it. She went to urgent care 3 times, and they gave her breathing treatments. And they were like, "We don't know what this is. You're like the 4th or 5th person that's come in here. We don't know what this is." everybody's coming in. And she was sick for 5 weeks. I mean, really, really sick. And
it's a nasty thing. It's not just the flu. It's very nasty.
Well,
the ones that have had it, even if they stay at home, it's no walk in the park.
Yeah.
When you have it, it's
yeah.
like
well,
really nasty.
Well, depends. Another friend had it, actually was diagnosed with it, and he said he had to, had a little bit of heaviness and some coughing for a week, and that was it. So some people get really mild cases, some people get really, really sick. But the truth, I don't think it is a flu. I've heard several doctors say this is not a flu. This is a different disease. So really, really scary shit. Really scary shit. Well, we'll have to hopefully.
Hey, if you guys can get BBC iPlayer, there's a program called Horizon. Has some really good facts on there about the virus, medical facts, and it's not biased against any government or anything like that. It's just Horizon is a really good program. So if you can get iPlayer, have a look at the Horizon thing. They've done part 1 just the other day. Very, very eye-opening.
Well, you said somebody's reporting on this virus without making it political?
Yep.
Come on. Come on.
I know. Crazy. It's crazy talk. Yeah.
I was going to say, you're pulling my leg. That ain't illegal.
Yeah.
It really is frustrating.
Just the facts.
It is really frustrating that we can't.
Oh, I know.
Unbiased.
Well, you know what I do? I go onto CNN and Fox. I love it because there's completely different viewpoints. It's just unbelievable how different
you read somewhere
the story is.
Where some doctor goes, "Oh, I'm using this medicine and it's really working," and then you flip the channel and somebody goes, "Oh, that medicine, that's a joke. That doesn't work."
Yeah.
And you kind of go, "Well, was the doctor lying? Because if he was lying, he should be arrested and go to jail for lying." Like about that. But if he wasn't lying,
I think it's both.
Huh?
I think it's both, because like in France we had the big French professor saying everybody should be on that chloroquine thing, blah blah blah, and so he's just about to release a study of 1,000 cases where absolutely everybody got better and totally everybody's completely fine with it, and then 5 seconds later there's somebody taken to ER because he's overdosed on the fucking thing and died from it. And it's just like, it's both. It doesn't mean unfortunately I don't think it's like one is right and that means the other one is wrong. Is that both, they coexist. And it's
what's it called? Schrodinger's virus.
Oh yeah.
It exists. It both exists and doesn't exist at the same time.
Yeah.
One last quick thing before we leave. I want to share with us. Guys, do you know this photographer?
Jean-Luc Steve? No.
Jean-Luc Steve.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Sid, you got to get this book, man.
Who is that?
You can get it used. Jean-Luc is probably France's greatest photographer.
Or he's very famous anyway.
Very famous. Black and white shooter. Most of his work was black and white. I'm going to do a review on this later today and pop it up. I think you guys will really like it. But I'm such a Jean-Luc Steve fan. I just absolutely love it. He died in the late 80s, I think, wasn't it, Sophie?
Something like that.
Yeah, he was a fashion shooter. Said that he was probably the first fashion shooter to go out and shoot fashion with a 20mm lens.
Really?
Okay, that I did. Did he shoot a lot of nudes as well?
Yep, nudes.
And he had a take on nudes that was really completely different to everything that people were doing.
Really exceptional photographer that could walk the line of fine art and commercial, and you could hardly tell the difference. His commercial work that he would do for Vogue or Vanity Fair or something was really his artwork. It was art, and really
his approach to directing models was completely different back then at least, to what was. He really interacted and he let the models do and be, and he never wanted poses and stuff like that. So
No posing, just, you know,
yeah,
do cartwheels if you want, but don't pose, kind of thing.
yeah. It's just
Yeah. If you can't find it, send me a note, Sid, and I'll see if I can find it over at the book. You should be able to get one on eBay, Amazon. I think Amazon's still carrying they're used.
Okay.
I think you'll really just love his work.
How do you spell his last name?
Sieff, Sieff.
Sieff.
Yep. And his first name is Jean-Loup, Jeanloup.
yeah.
Jeanloup. I had to check and see if there was an E on the end of loop, because that would have been very ironic for a photographer. But alas, no. Hey, thank you, Sid, for hanging out. We'll see you next
Always.
Friday. Sophie,
Yes.
Thanks for coming along, and John,
Thank you.
guys have a great one. We'll see you next
hanging
time.
out.
All right.
Be safe.
Bye, guys.
Be safe.
Thank
Yes.
you. You too.